Alright, hello. Just making a video on what I feel is a kind of underrated Super Nintendo beat 'em up, and that is Stone Protectors. Um, so it's kind of a review video, just an informative video a little bit. I'm not an expert by any means on games, but so this game here, I kind of discovered this not too long ago, looking for games to kind of speed run, and I found this one interesting. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. So I'll just kind of share what I find enjoyable and what is not so enjoyable. So Stone Protectors, it was a cartoon, and it looks like from what I found it was around 1993. I do remember the cartoon. It came out when I was a kid, so I do remember I had a few of the action figures, and I saw a couple of the cartoons, although I don't remember too much. I don't think it was on too long, which is kind of a shame because I think it was kind of interesting and unique. Um, so the game has characters. I have not played with all the characters. The character I seem to use the most is Chester. And he's kind of the big, strong guy of the group. So you have Chester, you have Cornelius, Cliff, Angus, and Maxwell. And some things that I find good about this game. It has a pretty moderate pace. It's almost borderline slow, but I don't feel it's quite slow, but it's pretty moderate. So if you're looking for a beat 'em up that's not like all over the place, turbo mode, this is a good one to probably start out with. It's pretty forgiving with extra lives. You get quite a bit of extra lives throughout the game. So as long as you don't die repeatedly, you should be able to finish this one. You probably are going to die a little bit at first because there are some patterns to learn. But the enemy patterns are fairly easy to learn. That's something else I find pretty good about the game. A lot of games are pretty patterns are just almost non-existent sometimes, but this one the patterns are fairly easy to learn. And then the character choices. You have a lot of characters you can choose from, so that offers a lot of replayability. I feel. I have played. I think I played through with 2 characters so far, and I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember the second character I played with, so I'm gonna have to probably try it again. I did speed run this game. I say speed run. It was pretty slow, but Chester was the character I used, and then I think some other people use. Trying to think here. I think all of them have a character run. Maybe I could be wrong there. Um, but yeah, I have not tried to speed run with any other characters. They do have special moves. The character has special moves, but um, they're I don't know. They're kind of they take time to figure out to like the good times to use them. If you can figure that out, then you could probably fly through the game a lot quicker. But I kind of just stick to just beating the bad guys up. That's probably why I like Chester because his punches are pretty strong, and I think his defense is a little bit better. So um, that's why I choose to use that character. So that's what I find pretty good about the game. So what I find bad about the game. Now, this doesn't necessarily ruin the game. I do feel like it's playable um, given these things, but so the moderate pace. If you're looking for a fast game, it's not here. This one's pretty slow moving at times. I feel like they probably could have sped it up a little bit, maybe um, combine. Uh, so the moderate pace and the length, those two combined kind of mess it up. And I think if they would have put maybe 2 bosses per level, I think that would have sped it up a little bit and probably made it a little bit more interesting. Um, yeah, I just feel like the boss. So I think what I read, there's 10 stages. I should remember that since I played it, but I don't. So yeah, I think what I read there's 10 stages. So if they would have combined some bosses in the stages, you could have cut it down to like 5 levels and sped the game up a little bit, and I think that would have helped. Um, but as I said before, it doesn't ruin the game. It's still a decent game. Um, just something I think could have improved it. So it is a rather expensive game. I can't remember what I paid for this one, but it was a little more than I wanted to pay. But as I said, when I speed run games, I like to have a physical copy. That's just me. So there are some games I'm not probably going to speed run because I'm not going to pay the price for some of them. But this one I think was moderately expensive. It wasn't too expensive, but as I said, it's more than I wanted to spend, um, which doesn't take a lot. But um, now the level design is kind of repetitive. I know it's a beat 'em up, and you know there's not too much you can do with a beat 'em up. You're going to be beating people up, but I do feel it is a little bit repetitive. But once again, I think that could have been fixed with maybe putting 2 bosses per level and just shortening the game a little bit. I think that would have taken away from the repetitiveness. That's a hard word to say there. But so I found a review on the game. It was by GamePro, and it said it was in 1994. The review gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. And I feel like that's a fair review. I feel like that's pretty fair for the game. Some things they said about the game were it's got poor animation. I don't agree with that. I think the animation is pretty decent, and the graphics are pretty good. The characters are all pretty colorful and pretty interesting, I guess. That's kind of what drew me to this game in the first place was how it looked. So I don't agree with the animation. I think the animation is pretty good. The way the characters attack and all that. I think it looks pretty good. Stiff controls. I will agree with that. The controls are stiff, but I don't think they ruin the game. It's fairly easy to figure out the patterns of the enemies, and the control stiffness doesn't really. I'm sure there's a few spots in the game where it could mess you up, but I think all in all, I don't think the controls are too bad. Frustrating journey. I don't think I really agree with that. I think maybe they're talking about the length of the game. But I didn't really find it frustrating, I guess. Maybe if you played at a higher... I think this game has difficulty options. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever messed with them. But yeah, I guess maybe if you were playing it on hard mode, maybe it'd be frustrating. But I found that the extra lives and the easy enemy pattern, like the learning ability, I don't feel it's frustrating. I feel like it's fairly rewarding, I guess. You figure out a game, it's rewarding. But no, I don't agree with Frustrating Journey. I think it's a pretty decent game, and I guess 3.5 out of 5 is decent. So I agree with that rating. So that's about all I have to say about this game here. So if you get the chance, I recommend checking this game out. But as I said, it's not a perfect game by any means, but I do feel like it's a pretty decent beat 'em up if you're looking for something that's it's not super hard. You just want to sit down and kind of learn the game and beat up some bad guys. So if you have anything else to add to that, feel free to leave in the comments. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.